All righty. And good morning and welcome to Friday morning, the 28th of January this morning. And our devotion this morning is entitled At His Feet. It's going to reference Mark 5:22 and 5:33, as well as Mark 7:25. Some lyrics to a song. Music was written by Scott Brasher, it says. He and Michael Card evidently cooperate cooperate together or corroborate together. A fearful, desperate father pleads for his dying daughter. He comes exhausted from sorrow and falls at his feet. Pale and bleeding, her intent to touch the fringe of his garment. But found out fearfully now, she falls at his feet. Life and healing in him meet. The dark demonic must retreat. All they had hoped for and more, they found at his feet. Bruised, bleeding, and unclean, he'd lived the life of a bad dream. From the tombs he came trembling and fell at his feet. With his own voice he was pleading. Another voice threatened, deceiving. He sought impossible freedom there at his feet. One rose, one healed of her bleeding, one delivered of thousands of demons. Every one of them found freedom there at his feet. Love all of that imagery. What do you think? Is this a literary device of Mark? Or is it a detail from the remembrances of Peter? Or is it both? Or something else altogether? The easy answer is that it is a detail that was simply part of the story. The easy answer, it actually happened this way. 3 different people found themselves at the feet of Jesus and find there everything they could possibly need and more. There's another example of the need to listen to large blocks of Scripture instead of focusing on the few verses at a time. In order to see the structure that holds together the story, you have to look at a 3-chapter block of text from Mark 5:22 all the way over to Mark 7:25. The story begins with Jesus doing something he continually does in Mark's gospel. He's trying to escape from the crowd. In Mark 5:21, Mark tells us he has crossed again to the other side of the lake. Crossing the lake never succeeds in allowing Jesus to escape the crowds. If you've ever seen the Sea of Galilee, you know that the lake is small enough that the crowd is able to follow the shoreline and simply meet Jesus on the other side. Upon landing, probably at one of the numerous docks that have only been recently discovered, Jesus finds that one of the synagogue leaders, a man named Jairus, is waiting to meet him. He is the first individual we will see falling at Jesus' feet. The man's daughter is dying. She's only 12 years old. Could Jesus please come and heal her? As Jesus is making his way to the home of the synagogue leader, he is surrounded once again by an enormous crowd. They are pulling at his clothes or trying to get close enough to touch him. In that crowd is a woman who is slowly bleeding to death. She's been dying as long as the little girl has been living. Like so many others in the crowd, she believes that she can simply touch Jesus and be healed. I call it magical thinking, yet this is precisely what happens. Jesus discovers her hiding in the crowd, and we see the second person falling at his feet. She is afraid and confesses to Jesus everything that has been going through her mind, everything that caused her to break the strict rules of purity and render Jesus unclean by touching him. Within the space of perhaps 10 to 15 minutes, we find two individuals falling at the feet of Jesus. While Jesus and the woman are speaking, some men come from the house of Jairus. His daughter has died. The delay has been catastrophic. Their comment to Jairus speaks volumes. Why bother the teacher anymore? It reveals a level of expectation that everyone had in regards to Jesus. Clearly, he has the power to heal, but no one believed he could raise a person from the dead. Jesus whispers, "Don't fear, only believe." As they arrived at the house, they hear loud mourning. Jesus appears to be confused. Why, he asks, are they making such a commotion? The little girl is not dead. She's only asleep. Jesus always refers to death as sleep, and no one ever understands him. He takes the little girl by the hand and whispers in Aramaic, "Little girl, get up." The final story happens 2 chapters later. Jesus and his disciples have traveled on foot some 40 miles from Capernaum to the area of Tyre. In Mark 3:8, we already heard of some people from this area coming to hear Jesus speak. Jesus is trying to keep a low profile in this pagan town. Mark tells us he has entered a house hoping to keep his presence there a secret, but that seems impossible. A woman from the town whose daughter is demon-possessed discovers Jesus is there. She is the third person we find falling at Jesus' feet. The miracle happens off stage. Jesus simply tells the woman that when she goes home, she will find her daughter has been delivered. Which is exactly what happened. What does it mean to fall at Jesus' feet? What does it imply? Perhaps it begins with exhaustion and having run a long way to find him. Maybe it communicates a sense of submission, but most of all, it is an act of worship, recognizing the worth of Jesus and his ability to triumph over every obstacle, to fulfill every need. His lordship is absolute. It extends over disease, the demonic, and even over death. To fall at his feet is to have arrived in every sense of the word, where everything we long for and everything we need is finally found. To fall at his feet is to find everything we need. It's also humbling, is it not? The lyric note, every one of them found freedom there at his feet. While it's interesting to notice the structure and repetition of the phrase "at his feet" in the text, in order to really engage with the text, the lyric must do more. It must ask better questions like, what did all of these people find at the feet of Jesus? One answer is they found freedom. Freedom from death, freedom from disease, freedom from the demonic, freedom from whatever you and I need to find freedom from. We find it when we kneel, humble ourselves, and bow before him at his feet. Blessings to you today. Let's see how we can maybe live every moment of our day at his feet, thereby finding all that we need. Blessings.